Hello everyone, David here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am coming to you with a tag. I got my first tag from Jolene at Bookworm Adventure Girl, and so this is the Bar and the Bookcase tag, which was created by Jalen from the Bar and the Bookcase channel. Now, full disclosure, I'm not a person who drinks, just don't enjoy it, but this, I could do it with books, so I was able to do most of these. There was one that I couldn't really think of anything to fit, but let's get right to it. So the first one on here is Old Fashioned, so a historical fiction recommendation. And for this, if I didn't recommend The Last Kingdom by Bernard Cornwell, I would be remiss. This is a fantastic series. I believe it's a complete series now. There's 13 books. But even if you just read the first two, you will cover all of the events that are contained in the first season of the Last Kingdom TV show. And it's a fantastic series. Books 3 and 4 get really, really good as well. So you don't necessarily need to read the whole series. But the first couple of books, they're relatively short in length, and they're just outstanding. And I can't recommend them enough. So the second one, Sidecar, a book with a strong supporting character. And you know me, I'm a Tolkien fan. It's got to be The Lord of the Rings, Samwise Gamgee. I mean, what better supporting character do you need out there? You know, Frodo Baggins struggling to get to Mount Doom and be able to cast that ring into the fire, and Sam says that, I can't take this from you, but I can take you. I can carry you. So, I mean, outstanding character. Number 3, Manhattan, a book set in New York. This was a tough one for me because I don't really read a lot of books that are set in modern places. And most historical reads that I do tend to be older than the United States. So I did some looking through. I wanted to avoid the obvious ones of Catcher in the Rye and things like that. So I went with The Gunslinger, the first book in the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. Didn't realize it was considered set in New York, but great. That was a nice one to get in there. So Bloody Mary is next, a book that scared you or messed you up. And this is one I couldn't really think of anything to do. I don't really read horror. I don't enjoy horror. And even, dark fantasy I don't do much of, and it doesn't really mess me up. It's just grim and bloody, and there's another prompt that fits some of that later. Number 5, Espresso Martini, a book that kept you reading up in the night. There's been a lot of those, and lately, I could go with a book that I just finished last month, Paralandra by C.S. Lewis, which I had a hard time putting down as I was getting close to the end. I've got 2 books I'm currently reading, and both of them qualify as of last night because I had a hard time putting either of them down. So The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang is the first one. I read probably 60 pages of that late last night. And then Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey, which I took to work to read on lunch hours, had a hard time putting it down during lunches, and decided to bring it home with me because honestly I want to get right back into it. Next we have a Sazerac, a book that left you disoriented, and for this one I went with Neuromancer by William Gibson, and not disoriented so much from anything really other than just trying to get through it and understand it. It's good, but it's hard. And those of you that have read it probably understand and can relate. It's not an easy book to read, but it is an enjoyable book. It's a good book. Long Island Iced Tea is next, a book that is doing too much. Bonus points if it works anyway. And so I'm going to kind of cheat here. Instead of picking one book, I'm just going to say The Cosmere from Brandon Sanderson in general. There's a lot going on in these books, and the fact that they have little hints that tie in together that, we're starting to get tidbits of things that now you can go back and look and say, oh, hey, this now ties in with something that was dropped way back there in one of his first books. And so that's really, really cool. It's fun. Anybody that's a fan of his works probably already appreciates that. and his books just have a lot going on, especially the Stormlight Archive. Yeah, I really enjoy them. Next, we have a Negroni, a book with a love triangle. I don't really pay attention to love triangles much, so rather than rack my brain for hours, I just went with a nice, simple Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Yeah, and love triangles persist throughout most of the series, whether in the minds of some characters or actually in reality. So that was a nice, easy one to fit in there. Bay Breeze, a book with a light, chill, heartwarming vibes. So for this one, I went with Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. And I picked this because it was just a love tribute to things that I grew up with and love and embrace. And, you know, for better or for worse, it just struck the right chords with me on some of the things I was hearkening back to that I still enjoy, just revisiting it every once in a while. So number 10, Dark and Stormy, a book that's dark, thrilling, and menacing, and bonus points if the setting matches. So on this one, I also kind of put in a whole series, the Song of Ice and Fire series by George R.R. Martin. In particular, I believe it was the third book where the Red Wedding takes place and everything that follows from after that. It's dark, it's bloody, there's a lot going on. So I'm assuming most of the viewers have at least seen the TV show. If you haven't, the books aren't much happier. It's a very, very brutal place. And then 10, Martini, a classic recommendation. And I thought about recommending my favorite medieval text, which would be Beowulf. But I decided instead to go with a classic that I think everyone should read. It's big, it's intimidating, but it's amazing. And that's The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. If you haven't read it, it's wonderful. I know there are some people that are currently reading it. I hope you're enjoying the ride because it is one amazing book. And then last but not least, tagging a couple of people to also do this prompt. So I'm going to tag Joe at Joe Loves to Read. I'm going to tag Jesse at The Caffeinated Bookworm and tag Christy at Christy Lewis Dostoevsky in Space. So thank you for watching and stay tuned because I have another tag coming up sometime in the very near future.